Hello everyone. Greetings from Indian Community School, Kuwait. I'm here to give few tips for the subject computer science, which we are going to appear for the board exams on March 29th. Get ready and be prepared for the exams with the tips which you're going to see now. Every year there is a change in the question pattern. In the same way, this year also there are some few changes. There are 5 sections from A to E. Mainly the changes they have done in section A, like instead of asking 18 MCQ questions, this time they have moved to 21 MCQ questions. If once you are very much prepared and thorough with that 21 questions, very easily you can score little high marks compared to the last year. Anyhow, this is the pattern. Question section A, 21 questions, all consisting of 1 marks. Section B for 2 marks, C for 3 marks, D for 4 marks, and E is for 5 marks. First of all, in the MCQ questions, you have to read the question carefully. The time limit do not take more than a minute. In certain questions, you can even spend less than a minute, which you can use for the other questions. Choose the answer and write the option along with the wordings what you see in that question paper. Because I see sometimes students are writing only just the options code like A or B or C. No, you have to write even the wordings, which will be very easy for the evaluation. Do not write only the code again, write the option. And immediately after the corrections of any error questions, don't come to the question immediately to see whether what you have done is proper or not. Because your mind will be fixed in the same answer what you have written and will not allow you to check that whether you have written properly or not. Go for some other questions. Later you can come and see whether what you have written is correct or not. So don't try to correct your answers immediately. Regarding the slicing, there is a question you know very well on slicing. Use the technique, because if in the slicing, if all the 3 sections of one type means all are positive, there is no issues. But if the questions are with mixed positive and negative, I taught a technique you know very well, bringing them into one form. Use the technique and do it, which will be very, very easy. And all the functions related to that 4 mainly the data types: string, tuple, list, and dictionary. Even the summarized functions are given. So please go through those functions and get ready. Do not confuse with the functions in different topics. Each data type is having its own function. Try to identify and prepare yourself properly. And in the MCQ, regarding the assertion and reasoning, you have to spend little extra time here to make a decision, because if options like false true or true false, there is no issues. But when both of them are true, which one is the right option? For that you have to spend little time and see by mingling both and connect it to the assertion and reasoning and make a decision. So once or twice you have to check properly and decide the answer. The next I would like to explain about the complex numbers. As you know very well, our syllabus is coming from class 11. If you go through the syllabus, there is a small word as complex number. Regarding the complex number, there is a function called complex, as you know that. How to create, you can see. Complex function always takes 2 parameters or 1 parameter. And with the 2, what is the reaction and what is the reaction of 1? Also you can see there is a difference when you are using with 1 parameter, especially a positive number as well as 0. There is a difference. And the type of the complex number is complex, like int, float, str. There is a type, data type called complex. Don't forget. In the complex, there are 2 portions, real and imaginary. The imaginary is always identified with the letter J, and the J comes after the number, not before. These all you can use it for MCQs. And if you give more than 2 parameters, as you know, system gives an error. So this is something for the complex number, do not forget about it. The next one about the identifiers, which comes under the tokens. 5 tokens, as you know very well. And under the 5 tokens, one of the tokens is identifiers. Try to remember the rules. Especially, you know very well how an identifier begins. Letter or underscore, no with a number. But underscore and number, is it a valid identifier? Means yes. Because the first one, if it is an underscore or an alphabet, it is a valid identifier. There is a question, definitely going to be a question with identifier. Don't miss the answer for this. The next important thing is about the try and except. Error handling. In the try, one option that is except is compulsory. Else and finally are optional. Even this you can use it for MCQ if you get a question. With the try, except is compulsory, else and finally they are optional. How many excepts are available? More than one. But if you are using more than one, for each one you have to use the error code. Is it possible to use more than one error code in except? Means no, only one error code is possible. And what about else and finally? Only one else and only one finally. And my dear students, please try to remember the order. Try, except, else, finally. All the 4 options are possible, but if you're having all the 4, don't try to miss the order. Order is very important. Here is an example. You can see a small example of the try and except, which will give you an idea how you can have different excepts without parameter and with parameter. And what about the nature of the execution? As you know, in the try, if there is an error, it comes to the region of except. If there is an error code, then it will reach that error code. If there is no error code is given as a plain, whichever the error, it will reach there. Then what about else? When else will be executed? When it is not moving to the except. If there is no error, it can go to the else. But if there is an error, it will go to the except, but it will skip else. But what about finally? The finally option, if you're having in your except, try and it will come out. And as I told you in the beginning, it is an optional. And regarding the functions, you know, there are 3 parameters: default, keyword, positional. Try to know the positions where you can have all the 3. Default in the function title. Keyword is in the function call. But positional is in both the places. There is an order also. If you're having the default or if you're having the keyword, you know very well how to identify, you will have a value. And the keyword and default must exist only on the right side. Okay, before that you can have positional. But after default and keyword, positional is not allowed. Don't forget. Then coming to the random question. Also there is a question related to random, definitely. This may be for MCQ or output. As you know, under the module called random, there are 3 functions: randint, randrange, and random. Between randint and randrange, you know there is a small difference. The difference is, in randint, both the values which are given in the range are included. But in randrange, the end value will be 1 less. Don't forget about this option and plan it accordingly and select it. Now coming to the file handling, again, you know, there are 3 types of files: text file, binary file, and CSV file. And in that, there are various modes are there: read mode, write mode, append mode. And regarding the read mode, the letter R is used. Regarding the write mode, the letter W is used. And regarding the append mode, letter A is used. And regarding the binary mode, along with this 3, you need a letter B. B stands for binary. All this must be in lowercase. Do not give in uppercase. So this is the first line where you're going to use for opening the file. And mostly this question will be there for 3 marks or sometimes for 4 marks. And out of that, very easily can score 1 mark if the first line of opening the file is going properly. For this, try to remember the steps of what I said. Here are the samples of all the 3 types of files. What you see on the screen, it is a small example of a text file. In the text file, again, as you know, there are 3 ways of reading: read, read line, read lines. And I told you how to use read and read lines, but how to manage the read with the read lines or with the for loop. So don't forget the tips already, which you have already taken in the notebook regarding it. And you can use the small sample program, which is used for reading the content, dividing the words using the split function. And from the for loop, you can access the words and perform the action, whatever is required. So this is something for the function read in the text file. Mostly there is one question related to the read mode. Don't forget. Here is a sample example of the CSV file. In CSV file, as you know, regarding the statement to open, there are two statements. One is to open the file and the other one is to create the CSV object. And mostly remember the extensions of the files, like as I said, for the text file is txt and for the CSV is CSV. The second line is the creating of a CSV object, for which you need the statement called csv.reader or csv.writer for the write mode. But don't forget to import the module, import CSV in the beginning. And here the default delimiter, as you know, if you don't write the default delimiter, it is automatically a comma. But if you write the delimiter, then it will be the delimiter whichever you are using. And how to skip the header? You can see the next option is there, which will help you to skip the header. That is next followed by the CSV object. Automatically it will skip the title. Title you know very well, you can create and you can easily manage to skip that. And in the CSV file, don't forget, while creating, there are two functions, write row and write rows. When you're using write row, you'll be using only one record, either with the tuple form or with the tuple or list form. But if you are using the write rows, you must use list of tuples, that is nested tuples or nested list. Don't forget about using the write rows, the syntax. But for the write row, only one record at a time. And also don't forget, in the CSV file, when you're creating, you may use the type of data whatever you want. But when you're reading, all will appear as only text. Over there, don't forget to use the function to convert if you want to test as a numeric. Keep in your mind, when you're reading the content from the CSV file, all will appear as only string. If you want a numeric, you must use the converter. Coming to the binary file, the statement to open in the binary file, as I already mentioned, with the read or write, the letter B is also there. And mostly for reading the content from the binary file, we use the pickle.load, like how we use for writing pickle.dump, and the syntax is slightly varying. And when you use this binary file reading, you know only one record at a time you can read. That is why you are using the try and except to stop getting the error after you finish reading all the records. So this syntax, you know very well how it is. And also remember, like CSV file, in binary file, the records all are not going to be in the way how we get like a string. Here, the way how you write, it will get back. If you're writing like a list, it will come back like a list. If you're writing like a tuple, it will come back like a tuple. Do not forget and keep it in your mind. And a small difference between the record structure between the CSV and binary. In binary, even if you want, you can use a dictionary, but in CSV, you cannot use dictionary. Only tuple or list, we can use it. SQL, as you know, we are dividing the commands into two types, DDL, DML. Don't forget the expansion of DDL and DML, and the commands which are under DDL and under DML. Create table, alter table, drop table. They are under DDL. Insert, select, update, delete. They are DML. So don't try to, because mostly sometimes I can see the questions of asking you under which type a command is under. For example, if they ask select, it is under DML. Therefore, try to know all the syntax and try to identify when the question is asked under which type or under the which type of the command you are going to write the question. And especially between the char and varchar, try to know the difference. What is the difference? Char comes under fixed length, where char comes under the variable length. They may ask some theory question also. And what about the usage of the primary key? And suppose you fail to write the primary key when you're creating, how to add the primary key later by the alter table command, or how to add a new column if you fail to write in the create table, you can use the alter table command. For all this, we have the difference, and try to know the comparisons also between certain commands in DDL and DML. For example, alter table in DDL and compared to update in the DML, we have the difference. Same way, delete in DML and drop in DDL, there is a difference. So try to know those differences also between them. And here are the few tips of the SQL alter table command. Like one of them is there, how to modify the type of the column which you already created, and another one, how to change the name of the column. Remember, there is a difference in the command, like how to modify the type and constraint, or how to change the name of the column. Here is the syntax. Please try to remember. And also in the alter table command, we can use the drop option. The drop option is used in many ways. For example, you can use the drop option to remove the column. For example, one column is there and if you want to remove it, you can use the drop. You can use the drop for removing the primary key. If our primary key is already set, if you want to cancel it, you have the option called drop. And also, if you have many primary keys, how to remove all of them also, there is an option. So all these are coming under the alter table command with an option called drop. That is called clause. So they may ask a different, what is the difference between command and clause? Drop table is a command. In alter table, the drop option which you're using is called clause. So don't get confusion. The next most important command in SQL is the select statement. Do not confuse with the order. For example, in the order, select, where, group by. Along with the group by, you can have having and then order by. This order is very important. Don't forget. And plus, I said when to use star in select and when to use the column name, when to use group by and when to use order by. Order by is very simple. For example, if you want to arrange in order, ascending or descending, there we use order by. But group by is not like that. Group by is for gathering and picking up a value from every group. So there is a difference. Don't confuse yourself. And when you are using group by, I already said there will be some hidden part in the question. Like for example, the word each. In the paper, if you see the word each, you can say it is under the group by. And the name of the column which you are using in the group by, do not forget to select in the select area, which already mentioned. So please try to remember. And the next part is how to connect Python with SQL. This is also going to be a question, and definitely this will be sometimes for 3 marks or sometimes for the 4 marks. So that we cannot say. It all depends on the year, how the question is going to appear. And here there are 2 lines, very important line. One is how to make the database object and how to make the other object work, cursor object. And for both, you need a module. Don't forget, the module name is mysql.connector. And there I told you that you can simplify the module name with the alias name, like you can see on the screen as mycon. So that mycon is going to become the alias name of the connector. So using this, you can simplify. And there are 4 parameters in the connecting string. One is the host, second is the user, third is the password, and fourth is the database. Out of the 4, database is optional. But the other 3, host, user, and password, they are compulsory. Host you can keep as optional. Failing here to write the database name, you can write later also through the string. You can make a string and you can execute it. And commit, what is a commit? Where we use commit? Commit means whenever you want to make the change permanently inside the table. Like suppose you are using insert, update, delete, create, alter. In all this, you know very well, the change must go to the table immediately. To make the change immediately into the table, we use the commit function. So try to remember the functions in this, and also how to use fetch one, how to use fetch all while reading, what is the role of them. All those syntax try to go through because you may require this. And finally, coming to the network case study question. In fact, CBSE is trying to help the students to score easy marks. Like this, you will see a table where one of the tables will have the distances, another table will have the number of computers. The table which is having the number of computers is mainly meant for deciding the place of the server. And as you know, the place where you have maximum number of systems, that you have to select as the place for the server. Very easily can score 1 mark. Every year I'm seeing there is a question related to identify the server, and very easily students can score 1 mark out of it. And regarding the type of the topology, there you can use the table of distance. And especially when you're going to make the topology, find out how many locations are there or how many blocks are there. If you see only 3 blocks among the 3 types of topology, that is star, bus and tree, if you find only 3 blocks, only star and bus are possible, you cannot make tree. But if there are 4 or more, you can also have tree. Rules I taught you, how to go for the star, how to go for the bus, and how to move for the tree. Order also I told you, start with the star always, then move to the bus and go to the tree. So that is going to be a very, very simple way if you follow the techniques what I said. And coming to the devices, where to use the device. Coming to the network like LAN, MAN, WAN and PAN. Small area, it is PAN. In a compound area, it is LAN. In a city area, it is MAN. And more than the city, it is WAN. All these are going to be very simple decision making which you can do. And regarding the protocol, also one question is going to be there. Many protocols are there like SMTP, POP3, then VoIP. So try to recollect all the protocols because there is going to be one question definitely from the protocols. Don't miss that. I hope I covered in a short time all the areas of our syllabus, which includes of 3 units. I believe you will prepare, and all the best. May God bless you all. Thank you.